All right, guys, let's talk about my Glock-ish handguns. So as you can see, I have two of them here, 19 style firearms, and one of them started as a Gen 3 Glock 19. This is the FDE frame, one of those Lipsies specials or whatever they used to do. I don't know if they still do them or not, but FDE, I wanted a battlefield green one. Couldn't hardly find one, I was unable to find one. And so I went ahead and got this one. And of course it came with the OEM slide that you see up here. And that was probably 10 years ago. And really the only thing that I done to that gun was put some True Glow night sights on it. And other than that, I just shot it a bunch, took classes with it, every day carried it, done a bunch of dry practice with it, etc. Really didn't see any need to change anything else about the gun. Fast forward several years and I started getting into night vision, and red dots on handguns started becoming more and more mainstream. And with me being in the night vision, of course, having a red dot helps you to do passive aiming, especially with a handgun, versus trying to use something like night sights. And went ahead and I decided that I needed to get set up to mount a red dot to my Glock 19. And instead of sending the factory slide off to have it milled, I opted for an aftermarket slide, which you see here, that was already milled. And I went with the ADP builder slide and got it in like a FDE color, sort of. It doesn't really perfectly match, but that's okay. I don't really care about that. I think it looks fine. Got that, went with the iron sights mounted from ADP Builder. And of course it came with a barrel as well. Had to build the internals out, no big deal. Mounted the Hollow Sun 407C on there. Got that situated. And of course I put it on my Glock 19 Gen 3 frame. So I made sure that it was a Gen 3 compatible slide, so on and so forth. And then that put me in a position where I had just this slide from my OEM Glock slide. I just had it laying around, right? It had no home essentially. Yeah, I could swap back and forth depending on what was going on, but for the most part, it was just by itself. So then one of the local gun shops ended up having a special where they had the PSA dagger frames for like $50, complete dagger frame for $50. I was like, can't really pass that up. And of course, as you can see, they had one in OD green, which I kind of always wanted anyway. And I like the ergonomics of the PSA dagger frame. Of course, the trigger is a little different, but I don't mind it at all. So I picked up one of these frames, and then that allowed me to be able to mount the OEM slide and therefore have two separate, fully functioning Glock 19 style handguns. So the only thing that I had to do internally on the ADP builder slide was I changed to a Galloway Precision recoil spring and guide rod. I think it's Galloway Precision. It might be a different brand. I can't remember, to be 100% honest with you. And I threw away the packaging, but it's worked out great for me. I was having some failure to go into battery issues with it at the beginning, and I attributed that to break-in. And I went ahead and swapped out the guide rod and recoil spring to an upgraded one. And ever since then, everything has been pretty good with the handgun. No real issues there. So that affords me the ability to run one of these with an optic if I choose to. And if not, I can run one without an optic. And then if I'm running my range belt, I can swap the light back and forth to be able to fit into my Safariland ALS holster. And that's pretty much the science behind why I done that and how I got here. But this two gun system has worked out really well for me. And it also affords me the ability to allow my older son to have one of these on range days so that he can get some trigger time with a decent sized handgun as well, rather than trying to shoot something like a subcompact carry gun, which is generally going to be a little bit harder to shoot well, especially for someone just starting out. So that's what I got, guys. Hopefully that makes sense. I think everything worked out well for me, and I do enjoy this system, especially considering now I have 2 handguns that I can mix and match with, and I can swap slides back and forth as needed, and everything is cross compatible. So I'm definitely a fan of that. Be sure to interact with the video, share your thoughts, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one.